This conference will now be recorded.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's my great pleasure to have you all here in this Ramadan night, and hopefully inshallah it will be a very fruitful session and very nice discussion with all our guests and attendees as well. So today's topic talking about leading change in the hard times. What are the challenges and opportunities? And as you know, we bring this from the HR Leaders Kuwait, and with our main mission to connect professionals in HR and non-HR as well, to share their expertise and knowledge, and then to ensure that we develop ourselves and our organizations and our communities as well. Okay, so our guest speakers today, we have the honor to have our guest speakers today, Engineer Nadia Moussaoui. She's the co-founder and GM of NZ Group Consulting. She has 30 years of experience in several industries: IT, marine, shipping, automotive, and construction. She managed a lot of projects in public and private sectors in Kuwait. She works closely with EY, Hay Group, and KPMG, and she is an executive coach, and she has an MBA from, I hope I pronounced it right, Strathclyde University. I'm not sure. Maybe she can correct me. And she's a member of ICF, International Coach Federation, as a member also from Kuwait Society of Engineers in Kuwait. We have also with us today Ms. Rizwana Narval. I hope also I'm pronouncing it right. She is a management consultant and in Hypo Associates UK. She has more than 18 years of professional experience in different industries. 10 of them with management consulting and 6 years with the Big Four. She had led several projects to successful close. Her leadership is in operational excellence, strategy implementation across organization. She has worked with various clients in different sectors. She is certified change manager focusing on people side of change, and she is currently pursuing her doctorate degree in integration of project and change management. Okay, and we have also with us our guest, Dr. Aisha Sheikh. She's HR advisor and lecturer, and she has more than 12 years of experience in managing all aspects of HR function. She has completed her PhD in knowledge management and organization performance, and she has worked also in different industries and specialized in printing and education. She's actively engaged academically and regularly visits Management College as a guest lecturer in various management topics. Her core strengths are team building and communication. So we have wealth of knowledge and expertise with our attendees today. So hopefully, inshallah, we'll have a great session, inshallah. Okay, so I will start with our dearest colleague, Nadia, and I'll ask her our first question. So with all the business disruption and people feeling anxiety and worried, do you think that this crisis will bring opportunities to people, organizations, and community, and why? Nadia?
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed Rabi'. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, and inshallah, happy Ramadan day, rest of it, and wish you happy Eid in advance. Definitely, as we see, this kind of a crisis forced us to work and operate in a different styles and methods. Definitely, because this is the first time we encounter such kind of a situation worldwide, which affected a lot of activity across the globe. And we already practice certain things, but not in the best way of dealing with the business models. This, when we really look at what's happening today, we can see that we will need a new kind of a leadership leaders who can, who should be able to look into human beings and listen to them more, create transparency and trust with them, and lead them with heart and also with hand, by means of creating opportunities of innovation and creativity. Also, they should think about going more of digitalizing, so that we mainly should be able to depend on technology most. Other issues which raised up, and it's clear for everyone, I believe, it's like new standards of healthy and safety awareness that we need to produce and possibly encounter in our policies also, and practice it. Now, there will be a lot of challenge because human beings usually, they're not possibly that much of aware of what does these things means and how that it impact themselves and their families and societies and in general businesses. So we need to create more awareness of how this health and safety is, new measures are essentials. Now, we already seen as a practice of a flexible working time, possibly remote also remote working from homes or remote offices. If we need to create such kind of flexibility so we can adjust ourselves to a new future that is coming soon. Now, also, I believe in every company, middle management are a very crucial line of people. They need to get more trained about how to handle such kind of situation, because they are the ones who are actually taking care of the actual operation and they are interacting with the actual workforce. So they possibly need to get more trained, and possibly, if possible, to hire also coaches where they can lead them, help them to be able to overcome the anxiety and the worry of the people. How can we really encourage our staff from different kind of mindsets, different backgrounds? How can we accommodate them and share with them that we do actually believe in them and we do understand the situation? So we can help them through coaching the line managers. Also,
So
I believe,
Nadia,
yeah.
Nadia, let's have
All right.
the others as well. Okay, we'll have still
Yeah,
a lot of questions. So, mashallah, you have a lot of of areas to talk about. So let's check with the others, okay, and then we can go back to some points as well. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So I'll ask Rizwana. Okay, what do you think? Are there opportunities coming with this pandemic, and you see opportunities coming, and why?
Yeah, there are lots of opportunities. People have already taken up the opportunity. As we say, in the middle of difficulty lies an opportunity. So there is an opportunity for everyone. Now, the innovators, they've seized the opportunity. They've moved forward. All the grocery stores in Kuwait, they've all restructured their online ordering system and the delivery process. Not everyone is doing as well as the other. So that's something to look at. Majid Al Futtaim, they've started a drive-in cinema on the rooftop of the Mall of Emirates. So that's something new they've come up with. This opportunity has brought out creativity in businesses and individuals. Have you seen all the videos that have been going around? They're hilarious, they're artistic. And on LinkedIn, you see the video of this man who's got two ninjas fighting. It's amazing, it's amazing. We've brought out creativity within ourselves. The most important are the frontline workers. I do want to mention them. This was their opportunity to show their resilience. You know, they've adapted to this really fast-paced situation, and they're serving the community. Most important is the opportunity of time. Something we always kept saying, oh, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough time. But now you've got time. You need to reflect. You need to develop self-awareness. You need to rediscover yourself and to upskill. Now, one more thing. Let's not forget the opportunities for thieves and hackers. So there are lots of people out there who are actually taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities and conning them. There are lots of hackers out there that are trying to get to your systems due to lack of cybersecurity measures. So there's an opportunity for everyone, the good and the bad.
So it's good opportunities for everyone. So, Mr. Aisha, what opportunities do you see in this situation, and why you see these are opportunities?
First of all, good evening to everyone, and happy Ramadan, Eid Mubarak in advance. As both of my colleagues have already stated a lot of reasons, that leaves me with some of these. I'll refine and I'll just say what we've not covered. COVID has taught us that it's how easy it is for us to clear out our calendars. We're so busy in birthdays, cinemas, restaurants, gym, music festivals. So it has taught us that it has given an opportunity to all of us, all families, as an individual, because we are human resource professionals. Let's talk about human side of it. It shows us how easy it is to clear our calendars, reflect and reconsider. This offers us a great opportunity to rethink our habits and routine and make changes in it. Speed and innovation. We used to take hours and hours and days to process one thing. But because of Corona, the things have become faster. Virus forces us to make changes in our daily life that you might actually want to keep after that as well. So decisions in organizations are faster, they are more flexible, and they are not going through a rigid process. Speed and innovation has taken place. Cleaner environment. We have taken this opportunity to have a cleaner environment, and we would not want to go back to pre-COVID atmosphere or environment. We have learned a lot. We should take this opportunity to keep ourselves there and reflect, plan, and see how more considerate we can go towards our environment. And lastly, modesty and acceptance. We can take this opportunity to see that we cannot control everything in our hand. We have to let go some. So we don't have to make. We have to be moderate and modest towards everybody, humble towards everybody, and it's not one-man show. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So, do you see this, Rizwana? Do you see this as positive change, going in positive side of change, and this bring opportunities? This could bring opportunities for people themselves, for employees, for example. This bring opportunities for employees.
Yes, definitely. This will bring opportunity for employees because organizations have to focus on reviewing their strategies, revising their strategies, implementing their strategies, and innovating their business models. That has to be done. Look at Facebook. Okay, they thought about the small businesses that have closed down because of the lockdowns all over the world. And they've come up with a platform for small businesses. It's called Facebook Shops. Right? It's an integrated platform for small businesses that can sell products, and it will be integrated with Instagram as well as WhatsApp. And they're also working with the bigger online companies to see if these guys can go online with them and collaborate. So when things like that happen, people are affected. You need to upskill. You need to get into the digital space. You need to adopt technology very quickly, and not just adopt it. You need to adapt to the pace of change, the pace at which these organizations are adapting technology. You need to become more resilient. Most of all, I would like to also focus on one thing, and that is developing a mindset that recognizes the fact that things are changing. It's important to get into that space. Things are changing, and they're changing really fast. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. So it's time to recognize that and get up to speed with it. It's a mindset shift.
Thanks, Rizwana. Nadia, what do you think? What opportunities could this bring to people working in organization? Yes, we could understand with all difficulties, maybe some organizations, some have them, some advantages. But what for the employees? What opportunities this can bring to the employees?
Definitely, I agree with my colleagues here. There is a new skill set is required actually for the employees and for the managers. They need to look into that and see where we have the gaps and then get people really trained quickly. As I agree with Rizwana, as if we don't really do a quick actions, we might lose the opportunities and we be a lack of going forward. We need to grab doing actions. And now, I believe it depends on every industry environment and requirements, the size of the company. Also, if it is only local or global company, there is a lot of factors which affecting people. So there is opportunity for new jobs can emerge. Also, as well as we can see that there is some jobs can be lost. But I read certain reports that there is a possibility of merger and acquisitions moves will be happening so many, and employees need to look into that. I mean, I need really to focus on my skill set so that I should remain there in this new environment. I need to be a new me rather than stand still and I believe that I have the right requirement of the skills. Every person has to review his own skill set, and also the organization need to relook at the opportunities of uplifting the skills of the employees to be able to be ready for the new phase coming up soon.
Great. Aisha, what do you think about this? What opportunities for employees?
The workforce transformation is something which nobody has seen in our lifetime. So how we work, exercise, shop, communicate, where we work will all be changed, and it will be changed forever. Hence, opportunities in industries like IT, healthcare, video tutorial, e-learning is huge. And as my colleague said, that you need to adapt and change the skill sets. There's huge opportunities right now. Many online programs are available at a discount rate. You need to see where you can use your skill set and how you can change that and take the opportunities in the world as a whole, not only in our organization, what you can do. And Ms. Rizwana said that there were creative videos which are going on LinkedIn. You can't believe it when you're seeing people make amazing content online. People you don't even know that could have done that. So there is an opportunity of people to learn a lot of become more digital savvy, take courses, do a lot of entertainment industry can be done online because people are going to be at home. Let's face it, and we would need digital gaming, we would need entertainment, we would need something. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to do content over there because we would like to see it. It's just not going to be work. So very important thing that I think is people are going to have a mind shift is on temporary working. It's called as temping. So temp work is an opportunity for you to gain work experience, gain insight into the current industries. Temping can provide you with a way to stay relevant in your jobs market and add to your paycheck. So do not say that if you're out of job, you don't have it just to go for a full-time job. We have to see all kinds of scenarios all over the world, and I think these are the things which are very necessary: skill sets, temporary jobs, content development, medical industries, medical supplies, which is going to stay here. Corona is not the only one. I think we are going to see. We have learned a lesson, and we can see some more. So let's be prepared.
That's right. So actually, what we're talking about is major change. Maybe in all our lives we have not seen such big change, and maybe the shift of the technology, shift of work methods and work style is changing rapidly. So we don't know, we couldn't expect this. So with change, there are some driving forces pushing for the change and some resisting forces resisting change or against change. So Aisha, from your point of view, what could be the driving forces that will help facilitate change or make the change happen positively?
If you're talking as in human resources and you're talking about from the point of view of HR and organizations, driving forces towards all of this, where people in leadership positions and HR can help in general, is to have more support to employees, because employees will not be able to focus on work until they feel safe and their families are safe. Mentally, financially, that support should be addressed. Organizations have to reassess their policies and procedures. They are not going to, it's the same policies and procedures can't be in place, and you can't depend on them. And if something goes wrong, you are late and people are confused, they do not know what to do. So driving forces is having the fast-paced policies and procedures in place in organizations. It's the responsibility of higher management, team leaders, people in authoritative positions to, communicate that. IT adaptability and ease. The University of Birmingham has said that internet should be a basic right. So if you see the pyramid that all of us have learned in HR, and you have food, clothing, shelter, you have Wi-Fi there written, because this is what we need now. So driving forces would be availability of internet, broadband, access to IT resources, hardware resources. You can't assume that your people at home do have enough laptops, do have enough hardware resources. Sometimes there are two partners who are working equally at home, and they have children, they have elder care to look after. You need to know what are the things that they need. These are the driving forces towards the opportunities that we need to grab onto.
Nadia, what do you think? What could be the driving forces driving us positively towards change?
I do agree with Dr. Aisha. Nowadays, internet and technology is the much, and maybe I believe we are actually blessed that we have internet. So it's making now life easier, that we actually can adapt a new change. We can see that people were before hesitated to go for work from home, and hesitated to trust the employees to finish the job while they're outside of the office. But with this pandemic, it's proven that people can be productive. And actually, possibly, there is some reports, international reports, saying that people getting more productive if they are actually working from home. And this will need a total mindset shift for the leaders. Now, business owners and leaders need to rethink about how can we look into this opportunity to do the changes. I believe one of the most supporting driving force is actually the mindset of the leadership. They need to really reassess the situation and the opportunities that they have, and then create a kind of a new environment that will support the employees to be really productive and more engaged and into the business, so they can actually be more loyal for their businesses and come up with the new innovation ideas. So this is like a supporting driving force from the management. But if we look into the negative driving forces, which is not helping us into going to this kind of change, will be, again, the mindset of the business owners are actually a challenge. Now, some of the organizers already adapted certain new methods, some of them already, because of the force of shutdown, they are closed today, so we are not sure how the business owners are actually looking at the situation. So we are not sure. So I think this is a bit of a risk that we need to wait to see how they will be looking into the after the fact situation. Now, all of us understands that we cannot come back to work all of a sudden. I think with this situation where we cannot see, we are not sure about how the numbers of sickness happening, and there is a lot of people talking about a second wave come up in October or November. So are we really ready for that? Are we really looking into this? So even if we go back to work, we need to create a team that could actually look into monitoring, factors of how the local situation reported by Ministry of Health in Kuwait and also on the globe. If I'm international company and linked, I have a supply chain coming from outside, I should really monitor what's going on and then do my own analysis. According to this, I can create plans, and I need to be very much agile and flexible to be able to change my plans accordingly, according to the facts that I can analyze and find out. So these are between positive and negative. I mean, I think it's the same thing can be looked into both sides. If we say shifting in mindset, people are ready to do shifting in mindset, this is positive, so we can relook into new environment. If they are not ready, then this is an obstacle, which they will only realize this after the fact. They might be lagging and they are not going to cope with the changes that's happening, and other companies maybe will be more competitive and advanced than them in taking steps. Looking at the workforce, workforce also need to be encouraged by the leadership and combine that with the new skills according to what's going to happen. I believe these kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very challenging situation actually, and that's why the analysis of what could be the supporting forces for change and the challenges. I'd say the challenges or the risk factors when we are looking to change. So Asker Rizwana, from your point of view, what could be the driving forces supporting change, and what could be the resisting forces against change? How do you see the balance between the two things?
I think one of the main things is we need to break it down into external and internal forces. The government regulations or policies of keeping people safe are extremely important because that is what is going to drive the change within organizations. So that's one thing that we need to keep in mind. We need to constantly stay in touch with government policies and regulations and make the internal changes as required to ensure compliance. The other force is competition. If they innovate, you need to innovate, but you need to innovate better. You need to have a strategy in place to stay ahead of your competition. We've already touched on technology. Major driving force at this moment is technology. We're doing business online. We're signing contracts online. There's no need to spend money to travel thousands of miles to meet a client. Now, this is something an organization needs to look at. We need to find ways to reduce cost. At this moment, we have realized how important cash management and liquidity is. So going forward, we need to prioritize and identify where it is that we really need to spend our money. Most important that both Nadia and Aisha have touched on are your internal capabilities. Your internal capabilities will set you for driving the change. HR is going to play a huge role in this because if you don't have your internal capabilities, which is going to be a challenge if you don't have them, you're not going to be able to keep up with this pace of change. The other supporting force that's going to drive change are your customers and your suppliers and vendors. You need to pay very careful attention to the innovation that's happening, from your suppliers and vendors, because that can affect your supply chain and that will impact your business. So you need to, it's a systems thinking where you need to keep your customers, your suppliers, your internal operations, everything in view. If we talk about challenges, I know I don't have much time, so I'm just going to quickly do this. But when we talk about resisting forces or challenges, main thing, your internal capabilities and your resources. That is most important. Your liquidity, your technology, your cybersecurity resilience, for example, inability for your people to be able to adapt and to adopt whatever it is that you're trying to do. How about a business continuity plan in terms of people, in terms of the entire organization? One of the things that we have here that I have noticed working with clients is oftentimes is heavy reliance on one or few key employees in doing certain things. And that is something that we really need to think about moving forward. The last thing that I'm going to say is phobia. One of the challenges is going to be phobia. If somebody said to you now, go to work starting tomorrow, it's all good. How many of you are going to quickly pick up your bags and pace to the workplace? It's not happening. I'm in Saudi right now. The malls are open. I have not seen the face of any mall at the moment. When I went shopping the other day, I picked up 2 items. They've now changed. So now you've got one person stand here, the other one stand here due to social distancing. I kept my 2 items on the cash till, and there's this person behind me, an old gentleman, okay, not much educated about social distancing, right in my face, right behind me. And I'm thinking, okay, hurry up, I need to get my things and leave. Okay, so phobia is going to be a huge challenge, and that's something that organizations really, really need to consider.
Thank you so much. Actually, I see each item of what all of you have stated are both can be challenge and could be opportunity, or driving and resisting. For example, take the technology. Okay, so technology is driving force because it's driving everyone to change, okay, and to meet online and do things, digital transformation, and so on. But for other companies who doesn't have this mindset, it's challenging, and it's resisting because they don't have the technology, and people are not really aware of what they need to do, and they are not used to have some technology. Because people used to go and have paperwork from one person to another, going in different, so they are not used. Okay, so maybe, as you said, it's for competitive advantage. If your competitor is doing this and you have to compete, maybe you change. So you can look at each item that it's both driving and challenging. How can you do this in your organization? This is the key things. But at the end of the day, there is a lot of changes happening. But again, the driving forces is more supporting than the resisting forces. Still, we'll have a lot of challenges, but again, in this situation, we don't have any option but to change. Okay, that's the situation. But as you said, also the government is putting some rules. You have to go by the rules. So these rules can help you change a lot. So I'll ask Nadia now about one of the key things that been
Dr.
challenging
Mohammed,
in the
can I just add one thing, which is a concern that I'm thinking of? Actually, I'm really very worried about the act of the government, because they come up with ideas, but they don't really actually agree on it so fast and announce the administration of it. And that makes business owners and employees, they are not sure how the future and the processes and procedures should look like. And I think that's worries us as employees, it worries us as management and as business owners. We are not sure what to do. And I'll give you an example. If we do accept people working from home, on the long run, after the pandemic, possibly, the inspector comes from Ministry of Shu'un and say, where is Nadia? And then they will say, oh, Nadia is working from home. And then, this kind of mindset, no, this is not acceptable. I think there is a major role for the government to rethink about the laws and adapt this kind of also of changes of allowing flexibility in the law for how the businesses will run their businesses and how they will deal with their employees, if you do agree with me.
Yes, I agree with you, but again, as you said, the change is coming, and it's coming for everyone, either in the government or private sector. So I believe that they have to change their mindset. Definitely, what we used to have before will not be the same after, inshallah, we return back soon, inshallah. But again, there is some transitional period. It will not go from back to normal, okay? There will be some sort of disruption again, okay? And then we'll have to new normal, okay? What will happen, we don't know. But what we'll see that people need to be very, say, agile, okay? So that they change rapidly, they check. And we see that the rules and regulations are changing, okay? Because on the ground, it's very hard to implement. So they test change, test, change. So we need to have some flexibility. That's the key issue.
Yeah, I would like to add here, listening to all of you, but the practical part of it is the challenging issue. So, you know, as Ms. Dr. Rabi said, that exactly how do we implement it? So we need to reorient or reinduct process of returning staff, because obviously, Ms. Nadia, I will not take my bag and go to office today. I will never. I have the phobia. So people like us would have, there are a lot of people like me, encourage it, you know, every manager have to have one-to-one meetings with every employee if you have a small team. And if you do not have a small team, as what Ms. Nadia said, the communication from the government is not very clear for the organizations to follow, but organizations have to take into consideration, follow up what the government is telling us and pass that on to the lowest and the bottom level right from the start to the end. That's the challenge, because if you're not doing that, employees are going to be very, very scared. They would be having the phobia, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge that we are going to face around the world while we are returning staff. Travel policies. Yeah. But the key focus should be health, safety, well-being, you know, and sensitive, open discussions of how to answer queries of the customers and what are the duties and the tasks of an employee who is changed. Are you still at work? Do you still have a job? Are you doing a temporary work? These are major challenges which is going to be faced by every organization, small or big.
Yeah, just I agree with Aisha with regards to what she's saying. But as soon as the pandemic hit, okay, every organization, I hope, created a command center. And basically, this is the center or the backbone of the organization and the brain of the organization that looked at every single aspect of the organization. Now, in terms of, oftentimes you have a government policy that comes out, which may not be very clear in terms of exactly what you need to do, but it's up to the organization to do better than what the government is expecting. So when we talk about safety measures and the government says you need to have social distancing, for instance, you need to give them masks and you need to give them gloves. Well, it's up to the organization to take it a step further and ensure that the employees feel safer. So it's the people within the organization, the management, whoever it is, who really need to look at these policies that are coming from the government or whichever body it might be, and then to develop the details of how it will be implemented.
Yeah, that's what challenging is. That's what the main challenge would be in any organization.
Yes, actually, again, because sometimes when from our backgrounds we come with certain situation about the organization, so not all the people or the management teams in organization are very well educated. So this means that not everyone has committee, for example, to manage the situation and communicate it to the employees. And actually, that what I was trying to do. We had two meetings before with our two colleagues, Amr Helmi and Yasser Abdul Muati, to see at their organization how they deal with the crisis. Okay, do they have team responsible for monitoring and reviewing and so on? Yes, alhamdulillah, luckily they have these teams that are monitoring, but they are big organizations. Okay, but again, for medium, small size organization, it will be very challenging. Okay, if you say that we'll go to work tomorrow or after 1 week, okay, what are the preparations, what need to do? So a lot of things. That's why they say that there's a lot of change. So my next question, I'll start with Nadia again. How can we keep employees engaged with us in this situation? Either now, when we are working remotely, okay, and then after we go back to work, how can you keep people engaged, make them feel that they know what's going on about the new rules, new regulations, new safety measures, and so on? How can we keep people engaged from your point of view?
I believe real active steps to be taken of creating awareness for the people, educate them about what is the new environment coming up and what's the new future coming up with and why, and assure that you are actually caring about the employees as human beings, and you are caring about their families. So you are putting a priority one is their health and safety. If you reassure them and you take steps into that, you're actually creating a safe feeling where they can trust you and listen to the next step. Now, the next step will be like the new policy that you want to implement, the new procedures you are actually going for after you reassess the situation. And as we spoken a little earlier, that what kind of new working environment that we want to do, and how can we be more innovative. So now the managements need to be more open with their employees. They have to create safe environment. It should be two-way communication between them and the employees. They should listen to the employees if they have any worries or they have suggestions. We need to be more open for innovation and creativity. So this is the way when we are actually giving a value for the employees, then they will be more engaged. So I think trust, openness, and creating awareness is actually very major factors that we need to look into.
Thank you. Rizwana, what do you think?
I think Nadia's covered most of it. Some of the practical things are having regular meetings, just bring them online every day or maybe once in 3 days, have a half hour. How's it going? How are your families? How's work coming along? Some companies have been pretty innovative and they have set up this tea or coffee sessions with employees. We're in Ramadan, so we're fasting, but in other countries, they have this thing where they get together for just 15, 20 minutes. They all have tea together. It's just chit chat. It's creating that environment that you would have in your regular workplace. Holding webinars is very, very important, which is the information sharing. Okay, and it has to be this face-to-face with the video on, where you've got key leadership talking about what they're facing, open, honest communication, because you will find that employees respond better to open and honest communication. And if you keep them involved from the very beginning, it will be easier for you as an organization to implement the change. It's required. If you keep them involved, they feel like they've been part of the change. One of the main things, and this is really, really important, and it's part of communication, and that is to understand the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. You have to treat people differently. The millennials will be quick adopters, early adopters. The baby boomers, okay, they will take it some time. So you have to communicate differently based on the age group within your organization, okay? One of the other key things is set clear expectations. Tell them exactly what it is that you're looking for, what exactly they need to do, and allow them flexibility. In the office, we have to go, punch in our thumbprint or fingerprint, and we have to be there at 9, and we can leave at 6, and all that stuff. But online, you can't monitor that. So as long as the work is getting done, give them flexibility. Allow them to mix things up. Yeah, spend half an hour with your child from 11 to 11:30 or till 12 o'clock. It's fine. As long as the work is getting done. You can have certain core hours where they have to be online, but otherwise allow this flexibility.
Thank you. Aisha, what do you think? How can you keep people engaged?
I agree with both of them. They've covered most of the points. Things have changed within months and days. Major part. Be sure to leverage your team. You're not alone in this. You shouldn't try to be the superhero. Bring your team together to ensure alignments on plans, priorities, contingencies. Engage them in the scenario planning. Let people talk. Get onto the video. See that bright smile. In office, you get up and you talk to your colleagues. How can you do that? How can you recreate that. You can only do that via video calls. You can only do that when you're having webinars like this or a video call like that. As Ms. Rizwana said about happy hours. Yes, there are lots of happy hours, lunch hours, even games going on Zooms, like example games of Once Upon a Time. Somebody starts and it goes in, robin round, and people keep on saying and creating a story to keep people engaged. Just 15 minutes before a meeting starts, so that people know that leaders are caring, organizations are caring. If you trust them, they will give you everything. We cannot micromanage at these times. We have to trust our employees to keep them engaged. We have to give them autonomy on work, and we have to be a little different in the way that we worked before. Listen to each individual is very, very important, and keep an open channel. You have to keep an open channel where you are allowing everyone to be heard and not only few. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So I think communication is the key for
Absolutely.
people to keep engaged and trying to build trust. And building trust is to putting the employees first, okay, before anything else. Employees first and their safety, and you care about them, their families, and so on. So many things need to be done, and I think, yes, employees are the keys. And again, this crisis has shown us what organizations have good leaders who can lead and manage and care for their people, okay, and those who don't have, okay, and definitely the difference was very big in this crisis. So Aisha, what do you think, what are the lessons learned from this crisis? What did we learn from this?
We learned a lot of things. We learned that we are not alone. We learn how to be alone and self-content. It's not people who are extroverts, especially find these quarantines exhausting and lonely. Social distancing can be very difficult. Trust me, ask me. I'm giving my own example. But it can also teach you a lot about yourself. You can learn how to keep yourself busy. Eventually, binge watching on your TV serials cannot go for long. You have to know what is your core strength, get yourself productive, which is very important. You learn to appreciate nature, which is very importantly, that's my second point. And it's just not in jargons and books anymore. It is in real life. So you appreciate nature. Third thing is doctors, researchers, teachers, they need to be paid more. We need to reevaluate how much money we are paying to Hollywood or actors, pro athletes, defense, politicians, and instead pay scientists and doctors' salary a little more. It's a new industry, it's a new awareness. People need to address that. They cannot forget what they saw in these 3-4 months which has come. Yeah, these are some of these major things other than the obvious things that we can see and learn.
Thank you. Nadia, what are the lessons learned from your point of view?
I believe the major two things I want to talk about is physical and mental health is very much essential. As my colleague Dr. Asha said, we are not alone in the world, but still we are alone at home. So this kind of factors is actually affecting us, and we need to take care of our physical health also beside the mental health. So we should not feel that anxiety and worriness. We need to be more aware of what's happening, and we need to create new methods of lifestyle, also the way we will do flexible in the adaptation of work environment. Also, beside that, I believe a major thing happened which we can learn, which is about customer behavior. I believe this is actually something we need to be aware of, so that it's going to make us point more about what kind of business model that we are operating in today. Is this good enough, or we need to re-look into it and assess it so we can adopt a new business model according to the customer new behavior, also the customer demands. And the thing is today, because everything is like closed, We can see people are actually going towards more online. This is one thing, but there is a big opportunity coming up, which is there will be a big demand of certain products or goods or services after this pandemic goes away. Businesses need to be more ready for that by looking into what could be expected, by looking into data today, what's happening, and analyze that and be more ready. So be more ready actually for the coming phase. And if you are not preparing from now, you cannot catch it actually.
Thank you. Rizwana?
Fantastic points, Masha and Nadia. One of the key things, I think, lessons that we've learned is we're tough, we're agile, and we can adapt. We just probably didn't know it, yeah? And this is something that we need to recognize. So if you are able to adapt when the environment changes, you will survive. Otherwise, you will perish, you'll become obsolete. The car makers, they can't make any cars. So what are they doing? They're helping by creating ventilators. Some of the perfume makers, okay, are actually creating sanitizers. Everything has slowed down. We need to recognize the fact that we are in recessions, one of the largest recessions that even greater than the 2008-2009 recession that we had, you see? So we know we're tough, we know we're agile, we are those superior beings over animals. And it's not difficult to adapt. It's stop pushing yourself or being negative about not being able to adapt, yeah? So if you focus on the positives and you have a positive perspective, you'll be able to adapt. And this is something that is very, very key. The other thing with organizations is those that had strong strategies, that had the ability to implement their strategic initiatives properly, had strong transformational capabilities, who were able to have a vision and was futuristic in nature, those are the ones who are still surviving and actually doing better. See? So it's very, very important to have that futuristic perspective. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is not the attitude we need to have. We need to have a systems thinking. We need to do this continuous improvement. And it's times like these where you need to learn about lean organizations. You need to learn about standardized processes such as Six Sigma, which Dr. Rabi already familiar with. These are the things that we need to start learning, adopting, and implementing. It's very, very important. I really liked what Nadia said about customer service and people, purchasing online. There's so many online companies that can afford to that have implemented augmented reality. So basically, you can see yourself in the dress or the shoes or the bag or whatever it is that you're purchasing. It makes you feel like you're in the store, you're experiencing it. That's creativity, that's innovation, and that's what the future is. Let's just move forward.
Great point.
I just like to add this point what with Ms. Rizwana had said when she was talking about adaptability. Darwin, who has created the theory of evolution, says it's not always the strongest species that survives. It's sometimes the most adaptable. And I think we are the most adaptable species, and hence that's what we've done. That's why major of these organizations have quickly adapted to the change and shown that they can survive. If you give a choice between uncertainty and pain, people would take pain and not uncertainty. But to the flip side to that is that human is very adaptive. So what they've done is phenomenal. Actually, change management. If you just keep on reading in books, if pandemic wouldn't happen, you wouldn't have seen such a brilliant change so fast. So you're already covering a lot of ground there.
Okay, my final question in 1 minute. One advice for the organizations and for the leaders, for the people and the leaders in the organizations. What's your advice for organization leaders and for the people working in organization? Okay, we'll go with Nadia first. Okay, one advice for each. Okay, quickly.
Today, as we said, it's more about the leadership. So please lead by heart, lead by hands-on, and this is the way that you are going actually to practice the new organization. And this will affect the leadership and the employees practically.
Rizwana?
I think one of the key advice is don't overwhelm your employees with new skills and pushing technology at them. You know, apply the 80-20 rule. 20% of the skills, make sure that they have those 20% of the skills so they can do 80% of the jobs. Just do that. And the other advice for everybody as human beings, get ready for the new world. It's a new world of sanitizing and social distancing at work, public transport, restaurants, schools, and everywhere that you go. So get ready. When Aisha talked about change management, develop that mindset of change. It's coming, it's happening. Get ready.
Aisha?
Yeah. It's a great time for leaders to be hands off the scheduling and planning only, and hands on in figuring out their people and doing day to day basic needs and know their people, to trust their people. This is the greatest advice for any leaders, because this is what they're going to take in long run. Most of the organizations would run the way they are running right now, and if you do not trust them, if you push them, if you monitor them too closely, then you're not going to have real productivity going on there. So for leaders, yes, hands on knowing your people. Get this time off.
Thank you so much. Actually, we'll take like 2 or 3 questions, okay, from the chat room. So one of the questions by our dear colleague Yasser is talking about, do you think with our culture we can still work remotely? Okay, and what could be the percentage of remote work versus the normal work before? Do you think we can do that? And also, if we can do that, will this affect people's salaries? If people work remotely, can we, for example, decrease their salaries, or what do you think? Culture-wise, Rizwana, please.
Culture-wise, given we live in the GCC in the Middle East, the technology firms will continue to work remotely as well as in the offices. Okay, I don't think this is something that will stop organizations from working remotely. The technology companies I'm talking about. The other ones, yes, I think Aisha and Nadia would be in a better position to answer that. With regards to the percentage, I don't know, I don't have the data, but in terms of salaries, I think you should increase the salaries if people are going to work offline, because you're going to have less cost. Okay, less cost of having a larger space, furniture, things like that. So if you're going to reduce your costs, then increase the salaries of employees, because they will be more productive going forward.
Nadia, what do you think?
I believe, I mean, it's already done. And a lot of organizations already tasted and tested the remote working and flexible hours, and it seems it is successful. And as I agree with my colleague Rizwana, that that will create actually less cost, and businesses will be interested to control cost in this new phase. And talking about the cash flow and liquidity, that will help actually organizations. Now, as we said, it's about trust and engagement of the employees. Now, the measure of is this possible or not, it's about productivity. If people are actually productive or more productive than usual in being in office, then why not? Now, will it be adapted by everyone? not necessary, at least not on the short term now, but definitely it's coming up. This kind of flexibility will happen, that organizations should actually support remote working. Salaries, I don't think, reducing salaries. We are talking about productivity. So business will create more opportunities for the businesses. Then yes, we reward people by increasing their packages rather than decreasing it, definitely.
Aisha, do you have comments?
Yes, definitely agree with both of them. Remote work has an advantage over office work, though traditional work problems with communication, collaboration, toxic work, politics, and culture would not be there. People would normally, if it's a reduction on cost for most of the offices, then why not? And for salaries, absolutely not. You're paying for the skill set. You're not paying a person to come to work and show your face. You're paying a person for the work that the person is giving you. So if a person is able to do that sitting in a place away, then why not? We still do that. We have organizations having different kinds, different places and different locations like Pepsi or international corporations. Do you pay your people sitting in America less because they don't see you anymore? No, you don't. So it's a skill set that you pay for, and I think it should remain the same.
I'd like to add one thing actually, and that is it's very important. I know we're talking about salaries and things like that, but we also have to consider that if the revenue of the organization goes up and the costs go down, that's when they can look at the salaries, okay? Because salaries are a cost as well. So we have to look at the whole picture. I was answering that question just based on whether salaries should increase or not. But we have to, as an organization, look at the entire picture from a financial viability perspective. Just to clarify that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I just want to add one more thing. Please let us not ignore that there is certain jobs cannot happen remotely. Yeah, like
laborers and
laborers for constructions, let's say, even doctors looking at the patients. Although to a certain level, maybe you can do diagnostic remotely, but that's not for major issues. So still there is jobs that needs to be on site, regardless of the site. So we still respect, being on site also physically.
There will be a ratio of if you want to let the people work remotely, if they can.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will be prevalent. We will see that post-COVID, definitely.
I believe in the beginning there will be still again, it's like everything. We didn't reach the normal curve yet. We don't know. Okay, so we are still in discovery phase. But definitely, what happened is a very good eye opener. Okay, for people to change the way they work. Okay, how much will be the percentage? I think, as you said, yes, it will depend on each industry. But even talking in construction industry itself, sometimes I'm the project manager, okay, and I have to go to the project and visit the people and so on. We can do now a lot of the online meetings. I know that people working on site, because I'm civil engineer, they didn't like to have these remote things. They like to see you physically, okay? But again, now things has changed, so people will adapt and they will use the new technology. And again, this will differentiate between the great companies and the normal companies. If you go back again after some time, if you go back to the new normal and you still work with the new old methods, it will not work. Okay, this is really great and golden opportunity for people who wants to change. Okay, you can change everything. Again, you can decrease your cost by re-engineering your processes. You could eliminate a lot of waste. You could use a lot of systems online. There is a lot. This what's going on is bringing a lot of opportunities to everyone. Again, who can take it and as advantage and use it to achieve competitive advantage? Again, it depends on the leadership, their mindset, and so on. I know some leaders would like to see the people again in the offices, okay, and they talk and they chat and they smoke together outside, okay. But again, in the coming period, it will be very challenging because you will not be allowed to have the same people again with the same capacity, okay. If you go back to work, you cannot more than 50% of the people work together at the same time. So we'll have a lot of challenges. And again, this will be a good change. I have another question here, which is coming from one of our colleagues, Ola. She's talking about she's working in clinic and beauty salon industry, okay, and saying it's very challenging for them, okay, because how they can go back to work with new safety policies, and how can they deliver this to their staff, okay, and to their customers as well, okay. So definitely, what do you think? I think this industry, for example, will have new shifts, okay, they will have new policies, procedures. What do you think about some industries like food industries, leisure, definitely travel industries, and so on? So what do you think they need to do to adapt to the new era of changes and so on? What do you think?
Can I say? Salons, to be, I was reading an article, fortunately, day before yesterday, and it threw some lights about the salons normally also do a lot of retailing of their products. So, they can do that online now. If the customers are not coming in physically, they can retail and they can have that model for that sector, that segment of their jobs. And for the rest of it, they have to maintain social distancing norms, and they have to operate appointment-wise. They can't have an open session. They have to have one-to-one appointment. And the people who are giving the services, they need to be closely monitored, surely for a long time, to test that they are not infected, so that they are not infecting. And this is how they can manage. Slowly, they'll have to bounce back.
I think this is, I know we keep talking about online, but salon service is something that you can offer online as well. How do you do that? Well, you can have web calls with your customers, show them how they can style if it's, that is what they're looking for. Aisha, is true, you can actually sell your products online. They can utilize those products, and you can have a one-on-one session on how to maybe apply makeup or style or whatever it may be. In terms of going to the salons, they would have to put in a lot of safety measures. So when you're washing your hair, for example, you would have a screen there so that, when you're cutting their hair, you would have to have your mask and gloves on, and sanitize, keep on sanitizing frequently. So an appointment based, so that you don't have too much crowding in your salon. And these are some of the things that you can do, but there's a lot of use cases out there that you can go and look at and then get some ideas from there.
There was one more thing. I'm so sorry. There was one more thing that, they had created cubicles. And it has to be in schools and colleges and in salons. So if you're coming and you're having an appointment, you will have 3 of them, and then it'll be closed with a plastic cubicle, so that, for an extra touch protection of salons.
And I think, yes, Nadia?
Yeah, what we are now talking about is more about customer safety, but also if we are looking into the employee safety, I think certain salon services, possibly it's too early to redo now because it's very risky. Even if the employee is wearing a mask, they always say that, the patient, if he's wearing the mask, then it's less risky rather than the not patient person is wearing the mask. It's the other way around. Although they encourage both of them to wear it. So I think it's too early today to allow all the services of salon to come up again. So they have to identify the risky ones and not to do. And the other ones, yes, still you can take the safety measures for the employees and also for the customers. So both ways we can actually keep them safe.
So I believe in such industries where we have direct interaction between the customers and the employees, definitely we'll need new policies, safety measures, procedures. We can learn from best practice from different industries or different countries, but again, it will be very challenging. So it's not an easy task, and our employees need to be highly trained, okay, and to be ready for this. And again, you have to assess the risks on different services to see where we can start, where we can wait for a while. Okay. Okay, I have also another thing. My last question here, talking about the role of HR. How can HR affects the economic situation of the company, or how can the HR help the company reduce the costs and adapt also to the change? How do you see the role of HR doing in this crisis? After, inshallah, we go back to work. Nadia, if you'd like to start.
It depends if we are talking about strategy level or about operation level. Now, definitely HR will have a lot to do when we are talking about the HR operation level, because they can produce programs, awareness programs, creating the new procedures accordingly by cooperating with the, let's say, lawyers, with ministries and all of that. So to create new procedures and policies, and teach the employees of how to be compliant to that, and monitor them, not to really punish them, but to encourage them why we are doing this. It's for their own safety. That's the operation side. On the level of strategy, definitely every organization needs to have a strategic team. As Rizwana said earlier, every organization should have a command office where we have people who are going to be drivers for strategic analysis and watching the environment in local market and internationally, and come up with the new policies and procedures to adapt to the company. However, they need to be also flexible, that they can change these rules and policies accordingly whenever changes are required according to the feedback coming from the market. So they have to be agile and flexible. So on that level, yes, also let's say HR senior people should be involved, because there's a lot of factors we need to encounter to drive the new strategy for the company.
I think I would just like to add one more thing, and that is HR needs to take a lead role in the future when we get back into the work or get back into business. HR are representatives of the people, so they need to find ways of reducing training costs, okay, by possibly using internal people. So you train them, and then they can go ahead and train the rest of their teams. That's very, very important. They need to develop a communication channel. So from HR, it can stem from HR in terms of what is communicated, how it's communicated, who the stakeholders are, what are the messages, the key messages that are going out. And they need to be very hands-on with people. So if people have issues, they have to have some kind of governance over how to handle people issues. If they have been infected, or their families, or if they have some situation, in order to be able to allow employees to work or do their jobs while HR is taking care of these things behind the scenes.
Yeah, I agree to Ms. Nadia and Mr. Swana. The major role economically that HR can play, as the question is asking, it's vital for HR at this point of time to see how do you restructure your organization and put the right players in the right place. Where can you minimize the cost? How many people can be on a full-time job? What are the temporary positions? Do we need that kind of manpower as we did before, as Dr. Mohammed said before? So restructuring is a major cost-related, economic-related part to the organization. Plus the mental health. HR has to take care of the mental health. If the person is not productive, he's not going to perform, which will indirectly absolutely affect the economic growth of any organization, and it will be seen very fast and very quick. So these are the two major things that HR always do and has to do morally. It has to do even more now.
Thank you so much. Because of the time, actually, we planned for 1 hour, but now it's more than 1 hour and 20 minutes. So it was a very interesting session. Actually, I had some more questions, and one of them related to schools, but I will keep this later so that we can take directly with Dr. Aisha because of her expertise in this field. Okay, so I believe this topic needs a lot of discussion still. Again, we have a lot of uncertainties. We are not sure yet about the future, but again, the one who can adapt easily and quickly to change will be the winner, either on people side or on organization side. So hopefully this session was enlightening and open mind and open our eyes and minds and thinking of new way of and eras for adapting to the new normal, as we say, and hopefully inshallah we can get over this crisis very soon, and hopefully it will change positively in all of us. So I'd like to thank you all for your contribution, our guests Rizwana, Nadia and Aisha, and for all people who attended. It was very great to have you in this Ramadan night, and I wish you inshallah to complete Ramadan in a good health and brings all the best in all of us. And I will tell you earlier, Eid Mubarak inshallah. Okay.
To you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for organizing it. It was a lovely time seeing my colleagues on Zoom discussion. Thank you for everybody for coming and showing up, and a huge thank to Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you, Dr. Rabi. Appreciate it, and thank you for everyone who attended. It was really good being on this panel with exciting people and new ideas. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rabi.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Nadia.
Thank you, Dr. Rabi, and thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Masha.
Salam.